Here's the burning question. What's going to happen at the top of the draft board? Because that's going to impact what might happen in the middle of the draft board. Obviously, I think we know who's going number 1, Caleb Williams to the Bears, who's going number 2, Drake May to the Washington Commanders. And there sits New England. New England doesn't really have a starting quarterback. They gave up on Mac Jones. They signed Jacoby Brissett. The Patriots at number 3, there's one rumor mill out there that says they're going to bypass Jaden Daniels. A second rumor mill out there is they're going to trade down. If you could trade down, who the hell is going to be a quarterback? Are they going to stockpile picks and let somebody make a jump up to number 3? Then you got Arizona at number 4. They're desperate for players everywhere. They have no wide receivers for Kyler Murray. They could get a gem at number 4, but they could get multiple picks if they traded out of the number 4 spot. And then the Chargers at number 5. They need wide receivers. They could get a marquee wide receiver. They need offensive tackles. Maybe they could get one of those. But how far down do you go? We do know that Joe Ortiz has a history in Baltimore. They always traded on draft day, traded up, traded back, stockpiled assets, etc. But how far down can you go from the 5th slot and still get one of the offensive tackles you want? Kid out of Notre Dame, kid out of Penn State, or one of the wide receivers that you might want. I don't know that Marvin Harrison's available beyond 5, and a kid out of LSU, would he be available? So how far down are the Chargers going to go? Now that leads us to the teams that want to make moves. Those are the Minnesota Vikings at number 11. Their starting quarterback as of breakfast today is on their roster is Sam Darnold. Really? Minnesota, I was told, is attempting to trade up from 11. They're going to try to get access higher to take J.J. McCarthy. They have to do that because Denver, right behind them at 12, is interested in J.J. McCarthy. They're spreading rumors in Denver, Michael Penix. They're not taking Michael Penix with number 12th pick. It's not ranked that high. They're trying to get the media to say, oh, Michael Penix, Denver Broncos, Sean Payton develops it. I was told Denver is trying to trade up, which means they got to hop past Minnesota at 11. They may have to trade as high as 6 or 7 to get them. But Minnesota may have to hop up to get 6 or 7. And then there's the Raiders at 13. Now, their big question is, are you going to draft and develop a quarterback here, or you just continue to rent a vet? I mean, their quarterback right now is Gardner Minshew and the kid from Purdue, Aiden O'Connell. They're marginal. Now, they like the kid out of LSU, Jaden Daniels, but that's at number 3 or maybe number 4. And that becomes a big question. You got to give up a ton to get from 13 where the Raiders are to either 3 or 4, the Patriot or Arizona pick. So here we go. And I'll tell you, the next 3 weeks going towards the draft, John, it's going to be crazy. But those are the rumors out there right now. All of a sudden, J.J. McCarthy seems to be front and center, what a lot of people really like.
Yeah, I mean, that's one surprising me. And it's amazing how everyone seems to be falling in love with him. This is going to be a great time when all the trades happen, and a lot of them happen like seconds before the picks get in. So I love all of this. But I think it's interesting when you look at this from a general manager's perspective, because as a kid, I was growing up and you learn about the draft and you figure, okay, hey, they're just getting players they can plug in. Who's going to be my new quarterback, my new wide receiver? But then you realize, especially in baseball to maybe a greater extent, that these GMs, it's like managing a portfolio, right? You know, it's like investing in stock and building assets. And AJ Preller certainly works with that in mind. But, you know, for an NFL GM, they probably don't have as many places to kind of stash their assets, right? Mm-hmm. They don't have a minor league system. But when you look at it from that perspective, how can you maximize value? This becomes a very interesting time for really smart people to make these evaluations.
Well, you got the top 3 quarterbacks that everybody knows, and now J.J. McCarthy, Michigan, has jumped to number 4, and suddenly he becomes the hot name. Now suddenly it's Minnesota at 11, Denver at 12 are really interested. So somebody's going to jump the other guy to get inside maybe the top 6. And then it begs the question, is he really that good? Because Jim Harbaugh is just praised him today in Orlando at the coaches' press conference.
That's his guy.
Yeah. And then you got the whole wild card, and the thing is the Raiders, who seem to have fallen in love with Jaden Daniel from LSU, Arizona State. But man, what you have to give up to go from 13 to 3 or 13 to 4, you talk about assets. Mm-hmm. You're going to empty the bank account to try to get this guy. Interesting going forward. Hey, those are